every department in City Hall, and not just here, but all over the things, it's what you might call balkanized. Every single department has their own sources of information. When I have to do a title that goes way back in history, say to the late 19th century or something like this, here's the place I go, and they've got all the information right here, all the old maps. Anytime that anybody dies and a property goes through probate, this is the place I have to go to get basically files out, look at the probate records, if the chain of title goes right there. This is where I'm going to find out whether a piece of property is keeping up on their taxes, or if there's a arrearage, what is the arrearage. And you basically walk in here, get you the tax bill, and then it's upstairs to the land evidence records, also known as the recorder of deeds. This is where places like this throughout New England, in fact the United States, I've spent the better part of my working life going through grantor-grantee indexes right here, slowly going through books and pages of deeds and mortgages. One of the big reasons that we want to do this data set of these 352 properties is that this will be kind of the first way of creating a self-renewing system where basically the evidence goes from the registry of deeds down to the assessor's department, down to the tax collector's office, to the planning department, to the housing court, to the law department, all the way, and it all winds up on an interactive map.
Yeah.
So the resources are there, and all the people, the community development corporations, the people who want to own homes, the city officials, banks, what have you, will all be able to sing off of the same sheet of music.
I mean, at one point in the mid-aughts, I think almost every house on the street has been scheduled for auction at least once.
And this is one of the few homes that has ever actually been taken over under a state statute. And this is a program that's been organized by Mayor Tavares, the Providence Receivership Program. It's a multi-unit, it's on a corner lot, it really anchors down the neighborhood nicely. And as you can see, it's now being taken over and it's being fixed up.
Well, this street is sort of endemic of the financial meltdown from 2007 that continues to plague our neighborhoods and actually reaches further back in terms of, the series of boom bust cycles we've seen from the late 80s to the late 90s, and now from 07 to today, where you have people speculating on homes at the expense of neighborhoods. You look at the blight that still remains on this block, although we do see investments opportunities, as well as the foreclosure crisis continues to displace families and leave behind empty houses that we now have to try to find additional public resources to turn around and be valuable assets and homes for our neighborhoods.
Think of it is that there is 352 places like this in Providence that have been targeted by the city for a receivership program. But the thing of it is, we need to do a lot of research. We need to find out who owns this place, whether there's any mortgages on it, whether the tax liens on this sort of thing, whether there's federal state tax liens on it, whether there's executions of judgment on it. We need to find out who the owners are and all the stakeholders, and that takes a lot of work.
The power of what John's proposing in the research here is, one, the basic knowledge is power. And the fact is, when we look at homes like this, streets like this, blocks like this in our city, across our state, having database and research that provides the evidence and support of that larger narrative of turning around neighborhoods, of stabilizing homes and communities, we need to have those evidence. And the research that John's proposing in terms of looking at these properties is vital to that action. I mean, I think we sort of take for granted about having information, but I think the work that John's proposing in his receivership narrative and the study, is going to provide powerful evidence in terms of the narrative of what the financial meltdown has meant in our neighborhoods, as well as provide a longer history of the fact that we have had neighborhoods that, if you go back to the 1937 maps in the city of Providence, shows a long history of redlining, of speculation that leaves behind neighborhoods crawling itself out every time we have an opportunity for the housing market to improve. So to me, this research is really vital to providing that evidence to further work like the state city's receivership program, but also identifying other public tools to turn around neighborhoods and stabilize communities and families in their homes.
Welcome to the Roger Williams School for Continuing Studies. This is where I'm enrolled and where I spend an awful lot of my time. Roger Williams has the Community Development Program, which is the place where I'm learning how to take my title examining skills and use that to recover foreclosed and abandoned homes for affordable housing for communities, neighborhood health clinics, child care centers, whatever they happen to need. I personally came down with a urinary tract infection in May of this year. It's left me with $2,400 worth of medical bills that need to be paid off. In addition, it's tough for me to find conventional forms of employment while I'm taking a class during the day at Roger Williams on the Bristol campus. And your contribution will help me be able to keep that going.